Hey everybody, I'm going to give you a little explanation what we're doing and why we're doing it. You all know we got a used chipper shredder, but come to find out it's definitely not user friendly. And with the amount of volume of brush we were collecting, we decided our best avenue was going to be burning it down and turning it into ash. And the ash we use in several ways here on the homestead. Some of this will go in the garden, some will go in a can, which we use as a deodorizer for our compost toilet. So, yeah, this is what's going on here. Jim and Cody are playing while we watch this fire. And one of the reasons we need to clear brush around our cabin is for fire control. We do have what's called controlled burns going on in the neighborhood. And basically, the pine forests that are around us, most of them are privately owned and maintained by the local people here. And so theirs do not look like ours. Ours, you can't see through ours. You can see through theirs. They go through usually early spring like we're in right now, and they do what's called a controlled burn where they light the undergrowth, which would be like the pine needles and any limbs that fell. They'll light this on fire, but they also have a standby water unit to control it if it got out of hand, and they wait for calm days. And as you can see, we have barely any air going today. Nothing is moving up there. And I guess the biggest thing I want to share is that this is a safety measure for us and on our homestead to clear the very flammable underbrush. This is a wax myrtle, and it goes up like you've poured gas or kerosene on it. It just goes nuts when you add it to the fire. As you could see, it was very high and flaring because it had a fresh batch of it on. It doesn't matter if it's freshly cut, which means it would be green wood. None of that matters. It goes up like you wouldn't believe. What Jim's doing now is trying to just keep the pile to a certain size so we don't have a huge burn ring. Now, we did this last year and we did it right over here, but it was too close to the trees. Yeah, right about there. It was too close to the trees, and we did have a concern that I had singed this pine tree right here. But as you can see, it's definitely vibrant and alive and full of new growth this year, so it made the burn. And this pile is centrally located in an area we de-treed, probably 3 or 4 years ago, because this was going to be the garden and the orchard. And then our plans changed for it. So you can see how that went up. And most of the stuff we're putting on is green. It doesn't have leaves on because the goats have eaten that part off, but the wood is green, and it looks like we poured kerosene or gasoline on that pile. It's crazy flammable plants. So that is one of the reasons we want to get most of this under control and away from the cabin, but we're preserving all the pines. As you can see, we still live in a very heavily forested area here on the homestead. We're not looking to take the pines down at all. Now, do they come down? Yes. Nature brings them down, and we've lost a few with Hurricane Irma, and those are on the list to finish bringing down and cutting up for firewood. It makes a great igniter for our wood stove, so we put a few pieces of pines in, get our wood stove going, and then we add the hardwoods, which is the oaks and the hickories that we've been able to get here locally. Without having what I would call like a fire barrier around the cabin, we could very easily lose the cabin to a forest fire. All it takes is for a lightning to strike and ignite some of this stuff, and we would be in serious trouble here. So our goal is to continue to use our goats and clear a nice circle perimeter around the cabin. And then we're also building pastures further out to continue opening up the woods. As long as nobody builds a house right next to our property line, we don't mind the property line being open. And I have had a brainstorm because everybody's azaleas and wisteria are blooming right now. So azaleas are toxic to goats. So I have to be very, very careful if I decide to bring them onto the homestead. So they would have to go to certain spots where the goats won't have access. So that's one of the concerns, but I'd love to see some of those early spring blooms. Cody, no. He's wanting a stick, guys.
They're hot.
And we're carrying these big limbs over here to burn, and he's trying to carry them off to play with. He's such a dog. You're such a dog. He's my buddy. There you go. He's got his toy now. We did go to Tractor Supply the other day, and it sounds like Bella's in heat. She's, oh my gosh, she's calling all morning. And we got some new doggy toys. We got some new goat toys. It never ends, guys. We also were on a hunt for some new medications to have on hand for the goats. And every time you share and like my video, it helps us bring in more supplies that helps build this homestead. It's definitely not a lot of money, but a few dollars here and there go a long way for us because we're very frugal with our money. So by building my YouTube channel and stuff, it helps keep things flowing here on the homestead. I just wanted to give you a little bit of info of why we decided, instead of chipping our brush, to burn it. Because brush piles are definitely a concern when the season dries out, which it will. We always go through a little dry season. If it would ignite, we'd have a problem here. So this is our solution, and we have a purpose for all that ash. When the new gardens go in, every few layers of stuff I add, I'll be adding some cold ash to it, because that's what happens naturally in a forest. All right, guys, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section. I do try and answer all the questions I can. If you have any negative comments, just don't bother, because I'll either block you, delete you, or not even respond. It's just not worth the stress or the hassle that negativity causes. So, moving on, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe, and have a blessed day.